Third try is the charm. Third try. It'll be great. It'll be great. So, I played a tournament yesterday. I didn't feel like recording it because I was doing it more for me. Like, I was like, I want to play a tournament. I have the hunger for it. I was itching. But also, it was New Year's Eve yesterday. And I didn't really want to put that much effort. I just wanted to have some fun. So, didn't record it. I do have some of the replays lined up, so we're going to look at those soon. I thought it might be nice to run through the team that got me top 12 at the tournament. It was a weird top cut phase. It went top 12 was the top cut phase, and then it progressed like normal, top 12, top 8, so on and so forth. It was a bit weird. I think it had more to do with the fact there was a few people that that dropped out last minute, and a few people got biased through the first round as well, which was really nice. For the top cut phase, that is. Anyway, I finished 12th. I'm pretty happy with that, and it was 24 people. I won 3 sets, lost 3 more. I think it was probably one of my better performances. I did top cut. I think that's a pretty good sign that there was some improvement. So that feels nice. Okay, we're at that point where I've yapped enough, so I'm gonna yap about something different. For the tournament, we played Rank G, which means you've got restricteds. For me, my favorite is Calyrex Eyes. I've played with Miraidon and Zamazenta. They're a bit more straightforward, and the counterplay is a little bit more specific than spamming Wide Guard over and over again, which should be illegal. That shouldn't be allowed. They should be nerfing Wide Guard as soon as they get the chance, because clicking Wide Guard every single turn is just not fair at all. It's disgusting. But anyway, I prefer Calyrex. I think it's better. I think it's just better as a whole. When it gets rolling, just like Shadow Rider, it just doesn't stop. Speaking of the famous Shadow Rider, Calyrex, the special defense EVs. I've EV'd this Calyrex Eyes to live 1 Astral Barrage, assuming that Calyrex is the only target. Which, to make things as really deliberate and specific as possible, if Calyrex takes a hit, if Calyrex takes the Astral Barrage and it's the only Pokemon on the field, it will live that what's it called? That Astral Barrage really decently. It's like lives on like 20%. I'm happy with that, because a lot of late games I end up at a point where it's like mostly healthy Calyrex Eyes versus mostly healthy Calyrex Shadow, and then can't take the one hit, and that's that. But now I can take the one hit, meaning I can afford to play a little bit more recklessly in front of Calyrex Shadow, which is really, really nice for me. Also, just to think back, I don't think I actually played a single Calyrex Shadow that whole tournament, which is weird. There was a few of them, at least 5. Not the point. The attack's pretty low. It's a bit lower than I'd love it to be, but even now it still does the damage I need. It picks up Incin with high horsepower in 2 hits. I might recalc the bulking damage there to see if I can get Incin relatively consistent with a 1 hit. That'd be really nice, but at the same time I don't know if I want to give up bulk to get there, so it's just a matter of waiting and seeing. I feel like the moves are pretty standard, no point really talking a ton about that. I guess the next place to talk would be Terra Poison. I was originally running Terra Dragon mostly to stop Miraidon, and I did dabble with Terra Water and Grass because they're just good defensively. But I just really hated the fact that Grass and Dragon came with a big Amoonguss and not Grass, but they both came with a big Calyrex and Amoonguss problem that I didn't like. So I moved away from them. As for Terra Water, it has 0 defensive utility against Miraidon, and And as much as Koraidon is a really strong Pokemon, Miraidon just is a big nuke button to anything that doesn't resist it. And even if it does resist, it still essentially just nukes you anyway, so being able to take a Miraidon hit is pretty flabbergastingly good for bulk. Noteworthy, this horse cannot deal with the Miraidon. It just can't. Not good enough for that. But Terra Poison, back to Terra Poison. It allows. It's just good defensively. I think that's about it actually. It's just good defensively. Not great against Groudon. Not great against the Calm Mind Earth Power variant of Terrapagos either, but weirdly enough, actually, I'm pretty sure I counted all three of those in the tournament, but we don't talk about that. When I looked over all the Terras and all the things that I was struggling with, a lot of the time it came down to the Terra specifically talking about Terra Dragon. It ended up being that Terra Dragon just wasn't as good after terrestrializing, because Miraidon can still just pick up easy one-hit knockouts with Terra Dazzling Gleam, which is just not acceptable. It also gives me better matchups into Fluttermane, which is pretty massive for me. I did look at Fire and I did look at Steel. I just found that I preferred Poison a little more, since it also came with slightly better matchup into Urshifu, which was something I gave a lot of respect to coming into this tournament, because Urshifu is just a real pain to deal with. Whenever it's available, it's one of the most annoying things to deal with. Moving on, the GOAT, my signature, Chi-Yu holding an Iron Ball. If it's not abundantly clear by looking at the Pokemon, this is hard Trick Room. I do not stand much a chance outside of Trick Room, and that's about all there is to it. Chi-Yu's somewhat bulky. It's just to maximize its physical defense whilst keeping respectable special attack. The calc I went with was like 60% on Terra Surging Strikes from Urshifu, specifically not in the Sun. In the Sun, it takes those hits under 50% pretty easily. It's pretty nice. Terra Grass, it's giving respect to the Amoonguss. It also just works pretty well defensively for Chi-Yu, which kind of leads into the noteworthy thing about the Iron Ball and its speed stat. At 94 speed, it halves down to what? It ramps down to 47, is the important detail. It's 47 speed with the Iron Ball. It's like 47.5 when you half it. No, it isn't. I'm making this harder than it needs to be. You half it and it's 47. That's all you need to know. But it's slow enough that if you jump over to Calyrex again, you'll see it's 2 points slower with the Iron Ball than Calyrex, which is really great for picking up cheeky knockouts when they think they have a good move. Because they look at a Terra Grass Chi-Yu and they go, oh, I can just Glacial Lance and get rid of it. If that Calyrex is down 20-30% on its health, Heat Wave or Dark Pulse is pretty much guaranteed to pick up a knockout. It's really good. And I think I've put a video out about it. Like, people get really confused by it. They're like, wait a minute. That Chi-Yu's got base 100 speed. How did it go broom broom in Trick Room? That's not how it works. That's not okay. But it is okay, and it does work. Brought up Terra Grass briefly. I really like it. It's good for baiting. It's good for Amoonguss. It's actually just pretty good defensively. It's not amazing in Urshifu, because Urshifu Dark and both Urshifus in close combat still generally eat it for dinner if it's going into Terra Grass. But still, with the bulk, you can live one close combat setup. Once it's in Trick Room, it usually rips through a Pokemon or two before going out. Which is a good little segue into just talking a tiny bit more about that nasty plot. It really just serves as a punish for defensive plays. Like, if you're playing up against, say, what's it called? Calyrex Shadow. it decides it's going to click Astral Barrage into say Calyrex Eyes, specifically trying to get rid of Calyrex Eyes. Number one, Calyrex is going to live that. But more importantly, I can punish that by staying Dark type, clicking Nasty Plot. Suddenly you're in Trick Room against a Chi that's going to go first at 302 attack. It starts just ripping through. 402 attack. It just rips through the team really easily. It's noteworthy that I'm pretty sure Heat Wave in the Sun can pick up a one-hit knockout on Urshifu Rapid Strike, which is very nice. Obviously, everyone knows it. I'm going to click on it just to lock it in. Heat Wave can miss. It happens a lot. It happens a lot more than I like it to. I had this one game today, I was just playing for a bit of fun, where I still won, but the amount of Heat Waves that I missed that would have sped the game up infinitely. Ugh. I hate missing. I wish there was a better spread fire type move that didn't miss all the fucking time. Sorry for the language. I might try to bleep that out. Maybe that'd be good for me learning how to edit better. Anyway. Torkoal. Holding the Charcoal. Drought. It is pure sweeping material. It is not a very complex build. Terra Grass, it just means that if I ever get into a situation like we have both Terras on the board and then Amuga suddenly Terra Waters on me and it's like, oh, Eruption's not picking up that KO? That's a shame. Terra Grass, not getting put to sleep. It, similar to Chi-Yu, it works pretty much the same way. It's a nice little, cheeky little bait, you know. Because Calyrex looks at that and goes, yeah, Glacial Lance, that's going to do a lot of damage. And it will. But it's not going to go first, and it forces them to think a little bit harder, which is everything I need when I'm playing against anyone, really, because the harder they're thinking, that's probably better for me. If I don't have to use as much brain power to get the same effect, probably good. It's a Trick Room sweeper. It doesn't really get led very often. I did consider variants like a Choice Specs or something like that, or even Assault Vest. But I also just really like the flexibility that Protect gives me, especially in late games where you might not be able to get back into Trick Room. Because God only knows the amount of times that I've lost my Trick Room setters and then been left in an endgame where it's like Chi-Yu Torkoal or Iron Hands Torkoal or something like that, and it just comes down to your ability to maneuver through those tough endgames, which I think Protect is just an absolute necessity for that. I can't remember the percentages off the top of my head, but the Torkoal is EV to live on Astral Barrage as well as it can. I was messing around with the calculator and I noticed that going a tiny bit less health with a tiny bit more special defense happened to give me like 3% better odds of surviving, so that's why it's specifically 242 instead of max out 1 in the other. Yeah. Earth Power, I really like it. Good move. Nice for it's just a nice little way to push damage with against like things like Incineroar or other Pokemon that are weak to ground. They exist. They exist. Trust me, they do. Electric. I don't really use it that way, but Electric is technically a type. Speaking of Electric, that is also technically a type. Iron Hands. This is the most recent addition to the team. I'm gonna quickly pop out for a second, and then we jump to this folder. Move you to the bottom just to look nice. We've got like this little timeline of events. Calyrex and Chi-Yu have been on every variation of the team. Actually, it isn't. That's a lie. It isn't the most recent Pokemon. Hatterene is. Oopsie. It's the second most recent addition. But as I kind of start locking things in, it gets pretty consistent pretty quickly. Like, I only just started messing around with not having Paragraph on the team, and I've not hated it so far because it is nice and it is kind of cute to make plays like swapping Paragraph in to stop fake out. A lot of games just don't come down to that, and my team's built to play a little bit slower, so I can kind of afford to not to deal with fake out a bit more directly instead of using an ability and cute switches to try and make it happen. Anyway, little tangent gone. Iron Hands. We're actually going to talk about Iron Hands now. For the longest time, this team didn't have fake out support, and let me tell you, it feels so much better with fake out support than without it. Ooh, it feels real good, real good. Iron Hands is EV to live, what's it called? Astral Barrage and Moonblast really well. Not the combination of the two. I should note that specifically. The Iron Hands individually lives either attack pretty decently. I imagine if it got hit with a combination of both of them, it would probably get folded pretty quick. Like, it probably survives one turn, but not much more than that. So, there's that. I'd have to double check the calcs to actually say that with any certainty. I maxed out attack to get as much damage as possible for the limited resources. I'm going to jump back to Torkoal. I did the exact same thing once I'd had my bulk sorted out. Just got it as high as I possibly could after getting the bulk that I wanted. So, fake out, again, fabulous. The amount of times that you've been able to just click fake out and not have to play so many mind games, limiting it really down to, do they have terrain? Do they have a Paragraph? Do they have a Covert Cloak? It's only 3 things. It's still a lot of things, but that's so much better than, does Amoonguss take the attacks? Does X, Y, and Z happen? It really narrows down the guessing game, so you can be a bit more deliberate in your plays and in your predictions as well. Because the amount of times you've seen Covert Cloak on Winter Guards a million times, so you know you don't need to fake out that slot because it's not going to do much. But there's tons of Pokemon like Miraidon that essentially never run it. It's like, bang, fake out, done. Or you're a Terra Ghost, I can bait it. It's great. I love it. As for moves, I could be running Wild Charge, and the 5% to miss Supercell Slam with a 50% recoil is not great. 5% of the time taking 50%, like, ugh. 5% of the time you take 50% of your health. It's not great, but the damage is really good. And as long as you're deliberately not clicking Supercell Slam when you think there might be a protect, you usually don't actually run into the 50%. So it's just a matter of maneuvering that effectively. Besides that, really love the move. Good damage. Drain Punch, classic. Really good. I guess I'll note something about the attack. The attack stat is that Incin, pretty much, essentially, I don't think any Incin can live Drain Punch if I have my Quirk Drive on if I have my Quirk Drive online. I'm pretty sure that is also true at -1, but I'd have to double check that. 20 minutes in. Oh, still got 2 more to go. Heavy Slam. It's nice for Flutterman. I also had a free slot and had no clue what I wanted. I would consider Volt Switch. Neat move. Good for pivoting when there are things like Gothitelle in the field. Haven't really seen Gothitelle ever. Not at the tournament I play. Not on the ladder. For this regulation, I haven't really seen Gothitelle much. So adding Volt Switch doesn't necessarily come with a great value, but I might look at it. On to the next. Pretty much all of my Pokemon are EV'd to survive Astral Barrage as effectively as they can. It's worth noting that with that current investment, Hatterene cannot live Astral Barrage before Terra. Once it Terras, it can take one Astral Barrage. I'm pretty sure it takes that Astral Barrage like decently, but I'm pretty sure it's still a guaranteed 2 AK. Again, I'd have to check. I don't have the exact numbers committed to my mind. I just know that the Hatterene plays the way I want it to, and it feels good to play. I've got two very, very, very offensive Trick Room setters. I really like him as well because with Terra Fire in the sun, Mystical Fire can end up doing a really respectable damage. It is worth noting that I don't Seeking Gambit very often, but Mystical Fire does make me sweat bullets every time I Seeking Gambit. It hasn't come into play yet, but I do think about it every time, and it scares me a little bit, so there's that. Either way. Again, I pretty much the same philosophy on majority of these Pokemon was that I'll give you as much attack as I can afford. The thoughts are disappearing. I'll give you as much attack as I can possibly afford after I've got the appropriate bulk. That's what I EV for. It's a Trick Room team. It needs to, pretty much all these things need to survive at least one hit. They need to do that consistently. And living hits consistently looks like a big mushroom holding a berry. In the same vein as Torkoal, it's EV. The same vein as pretty much everything. It's EV to live an attack from Calyrex as best as it possibly can. In this case, my Amoonguss can live one Glacial Lance before Terra, and after Terra it takes the Glacial Lance like a champion. I originally had 28 special attack and 4 special defense, and then I just kind of thought I'll change that around because it just makes more sense in my brain. There's not really much a rhyme or reason to it. Yeah. Terra Water, really nice, consistent. Obviously, it opens you up to opposing Amoonguss, but at min speed, your worst case scenario will always just be a 50-50 for living a hit, so it's not too bad. Not too bad, I say. I feel like the moves are pretty standard. Strung together by that wolf fellow who did that in UIC as his like big star of the show. Good video, go watch it. Really liked it. Citrus Berry, it just, multi-hit moves or even just one big nuke move can be somewhat offset with the Citrus Berry. Like I had this one game with a Kieran Black, Terra Ice, Loaded Dice, Icicle Spear in it. And if it hit 4 times, Amoonguss would have survived, but it hit 5 times and it didn't have enough health. But the berry came very close to making it possible to survive that, which was very cool, in my opinion. Yeah, I think that's about all there is to say about the whole team. I really like the way it plays. I probably wouldn't keep Terra Poison if I moved on, if I played the tournament again. I didn't really talk about Terra type on Iron Hands. It mostly is there to offset the weakness to things like Flutter Mane or other strong fairy type attacks. That's about all it does. Which is to say that it could absolutely be like Terra Grass or something like that just turns the weakness off. Because it actually takes the hits pretty well without Terra, so that might be worth looking at. But yeah, that's about it. We're going to see if I can figure out how to use OBS. I've been talking for 24 minutes, so regardless of how bad it looks, I'm going to just make it this is going to be the ultimate take. No matter what happens, no matter how bad I flounder, this will be the ultimate take. And now that I'm saying that, I'm I'm realizing that it probably makes more sense to cut the clip here, so goodbye for a moment. That should be a fun little transition in for editing, Caden. It is that magical time of the year where we finally start watching games. I'm probably just going to do one of these because, look, not all of these games are very interesting. Like, you can't see it off screen, but the first set of the tournament I had my whole head got like stomped in. I never stood a chance against the guy. Their Tropicos team, their play, it was just really good, and I was not in it to win it, and it really cost me because that game was hard. That game was really hard. I couldn't get I got their Magmar both games, but I never ever saw their third Pokemon. It was brutal. It was brutal, but game one. I'd say game one. Game one of the set that I thought was probably the most interesting. Let's see how it goes. Yeah. I'm going to be pausing this a lot, so we're probably going to be here for like another 30-40 minutes. Get ready. So the important thing that we're going to see here is obviously fake out's really annoying. To be honest, I actually didn't do my studying, so we're going to do some learning with me. To me, it's really important that we keep Calyrex safe, which is what I do there. They've once again brought fake out back into play, which means I've got to. It's going a bit fast. Previous turn, bang, nailed it. It's on turn 1 now. You know what? I'm gonna turn the speed down, and we're just gonna watch it again. So the important takeaway is that I feared fake out into Electro Drift Calyrex, and right here I'm pretty much fearing the exact same thing. It's just going to be relentless offense into Calyrex or something like that. Like Iron Hands fakes out the Amoonguss and then instant Flare Blitz, and it's suddenly difficult to make big plays. That's not what I do. We've already seen it seen it already. I'm about to switch into Hatterene. So there's that. Chicken goes up. I swap to Hatterene. I can't remember every single thing going through my brain. I hadn't been knocked off at that point. I'm gonna double check that. I hadn't. I guess one of my key thoughts in the moment would be Flare Blitz into Incin. Flare Blitz from Incin into Calyrex would be pretty devastating. I hadn't used my Terra yet, and I wanted to play it as reserved as possible so that as I got to late game, I could Terra at the right moment and really just pull the rug out from under them, which is the thought. It was also just a great switch because there was likely going to be a lot going into into Hatterene. We had a really bad play there. This is the game of the set that I lose, for the record. I think that part should be really clear. Not really in it to win it. I should say. Finally, I've got my own fake out online, but I just don't do enough damage here to actually take any KOs, and I make the dangerous play to click Drain Punch into Incin, knowing that Terra was still available. At this point, the game is very over, and taking that double KO makes it essentially impossible to win, because Ogerpon and Miraidon are going to come out, and there's just nothing I can do. I don't take the Electro Drift, we talked about this. It's not impossible to win here, I guess. Follow Me comes out, the flinch happens, I get back into Trick Room. I forgot that happened. Oh, that's right. Yeah. So I made a silly play here. If I didn't attack with Iron Hands, I would have won. It was essentially guaranteed. But I didn't have... but I didn't do that, and it cost me the game. Yeah. Not my proudest showing. Not by a long shot. Do I regret any plays? Yes, I regret a lot of them. But that's okay. Where's game 2? There's game 2. We click it. Oh, this whole Showdown replays website, absolutely fabulous, I dare say. So now I don't have to record everything live if I actually want it, or even worse, keep the tab open with all the battles, or download a bunch of replays that I have to then file through. This is fabulous. Game 2 is it's a pretty stark change. I feel that should go without saying that I get better after that first game. The recovery is important. So let's see leads. Cali Ice, Handy. I did know they weren't super into the whole switch game, like in terms of switching up their leads, I should say. Because I played generally similar most games. I go Terra. Surely I didn't Terra. Oh, because I wanted to fake out. That's right. Yes. I knew that there was a possibility that it'd just be fake out like we just saw, but I didn't want to deal with potentially losing the game because I didn't fake out Maridon. It felt very pertinent that I that I don't give the game away because I took a chance on Electro Drift. Rage Powder Terra, it locks the game up. It keeps everything moving the way I think it should be. We're in Trick Room. Let's get to work. Sludge Bomb, huge damage in my opinion. Yeah, I don't really have a ton to add to that. I'm gonna pause it for a second. Getting the Grim Nay boost is really the Chilling Nay boost is really nice. And knowing that Iron Hands, if we just quickly making a mess here, walk over to its set. Knowing that it doesn't have electric type damage meant that I felt very comfy not doing tons with it. Even though it's a boosted attack, Ice Punch just isn't going to do that much. And I don't necessarily... And I'm pretty sure it's Hatterene in the back at this point. It might be Torkoal, I can't remember. Either one of those two in the back, it doesn't really matter. Because it'll be able to beat Iron Hands pretty consistently. So I don't even need a Mungus at this point. 17%. Not bad. Not great. Fake has back on the board, so I'm now concerned about that. Hear thee. I somehow survived that. Well, somehow it's a pretty silly thing to say after looking at those EVs. With the electric terrain gone, it probably makes more sense to try to put something to sleep instead of letting it all carry on like that. Seems a bit silly. Ogrepon's the final again. I'm pretty sure both games bought the same 4. I'm pretty sure I'm clicking High Horse here, right? No, Glacial Lance. That locks the game up. Without the offense to win, game is over. Day 4 of it. The fella that I'm kind of battling. I'm gonna have it cropped so that you won't be able to see the chat. So I'll say the thing. The dude that I'm battling puts the message in saying, "The no protect is crazy." And I don't fully understand what they were meaning by that. Do they mean that not protecting themselves was crazy, or do they mean that, or do they think that protecting for me was a crazy? That like, you get it. Like, did they mean? Did they mean they should have protected, or did they mean I should have protected? I don't get it. Either way, it's weird. It can puzzle me at the time. It is what it is. Game 3. The suspense, hopefully, is killing you. That would be ideal. I'm gonna turn that down. Cool. It is once again the same leads. Same leads, exact same game. I'm pretty sure you make the exact same plays as well. He might not terror this turn, but I certainly. Oh, that's right. I committed to No, I didn't. Different game. It was basically the same thing. I terrored. I'm not entirely sure why, because it didn't really impact the game, like the way the turn played out. Moon gets in, protect. It did protect, right? Yeah. Because it's going to be Electro Drift into the Calyrex, yeah? Yeah. See? My memory's so bad, I can call the turns, but I have no clue what's going on. I do remember this turn very vividly. Feeling super confident that the Miraidon would click Electro Drift into Iron Hand, so I went, you take the hit for me, and Amoonguss starts chipping the Miraidon down. I didn't realize Amoonguss was going to do so much damage, which certainly isn't a bad thing. I was very happy about it. So, that's about all the words I want to say about that turn, because I actually had something to say there. Taking 50% on one hit's really good. And the fact that they felt pressure to get their Miraidon off the field when Amoonguss is doing its thing felt very cool. Do I get a poison here? Nah. Different game, but I just wanted to believe. Even though I already know what happens, I want to believe. Callie comes in. I'm basically just predicting. Well, the intention was to predict what's it called? Will-O-Wisp. But I ended up clicking Rage Powder, so it was a pretty pointless prediction. I Rage Powder again. Sets safety goggles, obviously that part plays out the same. I'm not sure what their thinking was with clicking Low Kick instead of Ice Punch. Since against both Pokemon, Ice Punch would have done more damage. Also, we're off terrain, so I put Iron Hands to sleep. Which is why I hate electric terrain. Not being able to go for the snooze is not fun. Protect, very cool. Very cool. Iron Hands asleep. Glacial Lance, that's going to do great damage. I think we're at the moment of truth. That was the moment of truth. The Sludge Bomb to rule them all. He doesn't message in the the showdown chat, but he after the game he went into the Discord and started having a bit of a temper tantrum about it, which I thought was a little weird. The frustration was completely valid. That makes complete sense. If I played the game and then suddenly this Amoonguss is just ripping through my team, Amoonguss specifically is actually doing tons of damage to my team, I would be so annoyed. And then the Amoonguss crits for the one hit on Ogerpon, nah, I'd be so angry. But still, I was really confused when they went onto the Discord and went, OMG, this crit mattered so much, when it really didn't. Because when I press play, Calyrex is going to click Glacial Lance, and it's going to take out the Iron Hands. And there's going to be no way for the Choice Specs Miraidon to escape punishment for not lasting long enough through Trickery. But yeah, just to circle back to that Sludge Bomb one more time. I'm pretty sure it's still a guaranteed double KO if the Calyrex was min attack with no boosts. But we're talking 100 EVs into attack and a boost. And no matter how defensive that Ogerpon is, with the current investment, with the +1 boost, with the Sludge Bomb coming through, there's absolutely no way for that ogre pawn to live. So, with that in mind, I just want to reiterate that I was pretty confused to why they were so eager to talk about like they're so eager to talk about that crit like it made a difference. If you think about it, that crit is slightly less optimal because now I'm only getting +1. I'm only getting the one chilling nay boost instead of getting 2. But that's like potatoes. It doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. The crit doesn't matter. Not getting the extra boost doesn't matter. The game is over. And they forfeit. So, that was fun. Maybe I'll write a script next time that I want to break down a set. Because that was not easy to talk. Oh, you know what? We're only 15 minutes in. I said we'd be here for like 40 minutes. Another game from the tournament. This fellow named Oliver. Interesting enough name. Tarabago's team. So Tarabago's mostly Trick Room-esque team. When I looked at the matchup, it didn't seem great. I think we can look at the team sheet this way. We cannot. That's a shame. It is open team sheet, so when the game starts, I'll look at the team sheet. We can just kind of talk about what was freaking me out a little bit. Once we see the leads, I'll do all the team stuff. And ooh, this is scary. Speaking of scary, King Gambit, very scary. Interesting leads. When I looked at the signature, it felt like they were leaning into a more anti-Trick Room centric game. Like they wanted to catch me out of Trick Room and then use Travagos to like smother the team with just great defense and really decent what's it called? Offense, that's what it's called. Travagos. Safety goggles, that certainly had me a bit antsy, because not being able to put Travagos to sleep limits one of my go-to character plays for Travagos as a whole, is just to say, you snooze, and that can start chipping you down with Sludge Bomb and Glacial Lance over and over again, and just slowly turn this into a bloodbath. Not being able to put it to sleep is scary. Oop. And it moved on its own. That's cool. Ogrepon. Obviously nothing very exciting with the item. Spiky Shield as a whole is a bit scary for the Iron Hands, which I'm pretty sure I brought to this game. Honestly, I can't remember right this second. But yeah. Ogrepon, definitely scary with Spiky Shield, because all 3 of my attacking moves are contact, which means unless I'm willing to call the protect, yeah. If I call the protect with Spiky Shield, I can click fake out and have it fail, so that I don't take the recoil from Spiky Shield. But that's a big call to make, and it never feels comfortable to do that. Hospitality was one thing that I was really concerned about, because with the previous Travagos team that I played, which was the first set of the tournament where I got absolutely curb stomped the whole way through, couldn't do anything about the whole team. It was their Comfey that ended up making it really just super hard to break through and to achieve anything meaningful. So when I saw Hospitality, I was like, it's limited, but it achieves its same effect, and it's scary. King Gambit. Mino like King Gambit. King Gambit speed ties with me. Doesn't speed ties to you, but he has Sucker Punch, and if I ever tear it to you, it becomes scary. AV also meant that it had a real shot after Terra to live things like Dog Pulse pretty substantially. And Brick Break for coverage. It seemed really built to deal with those Chiyu, and my Chiyu is not built to be walled. It is built to catch unsuspecting fools and obliterate them. And King Gambit probably wasn't getting obliterated. Cress. Everyone loves Cress. Citrus Berry, Trick Room, Lunar Blessing, one of my least favorite moves ever. It's like Isn't Lunar Blessing just life do but better? Gross. Helping Hand was the real thing that actually freaked me out the most, because things like Helping Hand, Ursaluna come into play during the sets, and they're freaky because they have that Ursaluna right there. That's got Yawn. I kind of forgot that it had Yawn, but it's a cheeky little thing to add to a team. It certainly caught me off guard. Even knowing it was there, I still pretty sure I'd end up making plays that allow them to click Yawn pretty safely. But yeah, more than Yawn, Guts, Flame Orb, Facade, put a Helping Hand on that. Nothing on my team survives that. Or Headlong Rush, if they're feeling greedy. So that's why I was feeling very concerned going into this matchup. Took a little while to explain that. Let's see how it actually goes. What actually happened? I predict Cap Tap Cleave or Iron Head. It doesn't really matter to me what the move was. To me, it was important that King Gambit took a snooze and it wasn't a threat anymore. Huh. I'm gonna be real. I don't fully understand why me switched Hatterene in there. I like it. I don't really know why. I like the positioning, but I don't fully know what was going through my brain to get me to switch in that position. Definitely felt like I was taking a risk there, and I did. Being able to actually, speaking of crits for the a billionth time in this video, the crit on the Ogerpon didn't matter. Honestly, there's a real shot that crit for the Sinistra, there's a real chance that mattered a lot. So that felt pretty good in the moment. Ursaluna already on no health. It feels very good. I'm pretty sure I doubled Gambit here, didn't I? No, I didn't. I clicked Psychic. That's what I did. Staying asleep. How long have they been asleep? One turn. Cool, get rid of Ursaluna. It's no longer a threat. It was the biggest threat. Catching one more burst is really good, because I know that Tribal Ghost is going to be in the back. I also know that my two setters are on the field. I basically said, if it comes down to needing Protect, that'd be really bad. Basically, I could have protected Hatterene and Calyrex to play safe, assuming that it didn't go down to the double, which it ended up going down to the double. But my thought was that if I wanted to play it safe, I could protect, except for when I'm out of Trick Room and I need to put Trick Room back up, and then suddenly I'm caught completely out of position. So taking advantage of the somewhat opportune time to just click attacks pretty mindlessly was what I did there. Mystic Fire was just to say, hey, I'm going to reduce your special attack so that if I do actually have to play you out of Trick Room for a little bit, you're not going to be doing too much damage. So I still got a shot, even if I can't get back into Trick Room. But long and short of it is, the choice to click attacks instead of Protect, where it kind of made sense in my brain to click Protect. Attacks were good because then I still have the chance to protect if I needed it later. I said a lot of words there. I said way too many words there. Let's summarize. Me click big damage button because I want to click big protect button later. Next game. Game 2. Fun. Crank that thing to slow. Play. Oh, we're saying nice words. I'm realizing now that this is actually game 1. Well, keep it in. Spoiler alert. I win this one. So they're clicking Trick Room, aren't they? No. Oh, they're a helping hand. I see. Yeah, yes. Drop Ghost comes in. I clicked Sludge Bomb into that slot. That's what I did. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. What is making me believe that so wholeheartedly? Terrifier, Mystic Fire into Terapagos. I really love that play. Reducing the special attack just makes Terapagos really difficult to work with. Like, parting shot into a Terapagos or something like that, it just becomes really crippled and hard to use. It's getting special defense, but it's not really gaining any HP, nor is it really gaining ground on Hatterene, who's doing very good damage so far. Iron Hands is in. King Gambit is now completely out of position. It's essentially impossible to use, which I like. I like that. I like catching him out of position. They don't have safety golems anymore. They do have the potential to get around Spore still with Sinistra, but they don't go for that this turn. My fake out wasn't perfect, but it still worked. It served its purpose well. At this point, I want to get rid of King Gambit since Crest cannot do the damage. It just can't. Turn 1 Wake Up. Oh, great. Lunar Blessing. Even worse. I'm pretty sure... Oh, it's AV, so it can't even... It's AV, so it can't protect. Should go without saying that I have Calyrex in the back there. It's the big bad bully of my team. Sometimes being a bully up front is not good. I'm hoping to take a facade, basically, get rid of their Gambit. Taking the headlong rush there felt fabulous. Because that just meant that it was going to be super, super easy to double the crest. I don't think I actually do double crest in this situation, but in theory I can double crest pretty freely and guarantee somewhat safe. I don't double the crest, but I win the speed tie. I had 2 Pokemon that could win, so I was statistically in a better position. Obviously, Crest isn't some offensive unit, so I was never really a threat once the offensive pieces were gone. This was the set that I played to clinch Top Cut. It felt pretty good to go into Top Cut coming off of this game because we just watched game 1. I had a really easy game 1. I wouldn't necessarily say I was playing my best. I was somewhat risky, and I did have to get lucky for the game to unfold the way it did. Especially right at the end. If that Ursaluna had moved first, then there's a real shot I just couldn't come back with. Like, there'd be a real chance I just couldn't make a comeback with Iron Hands or Calyrex alone. In practice, Crest probably takes too much from the Glacial Lance, and we know it took a lot from what's it called, from Supercell. So maybe even then, yeah, maybe if I lost the speed type, it wouldn't have made a difference. Who knows? All I know is that I won, and that I got Top Cut, and then I played a 2-game set against the second place for the tournament and had no clue what I was doing the whole game. It was a 3-game set. I won game 1 pretty convincingly, and then game 2 I made a clever little play, but then couldn't, like a clever little play with their Volt Switch and all that on Miraidon, but I couldn't follow through and I lost. And then my brain went full autopilot and I made the exact same play on the next game and immediately lost the game because, like, hands up, making the exact same play twice in a row isn't very smart when they had a clear out and they didn't take it the last time. So that kind of describes to the end of that tournament. Not my proudest showing. It was pretty bad play. But I'd been playing for like 4 hours at that point. It took a little while to get here since some of the rounds were just a little bit longer than I would have liked. And there was a little break in between, like Top Cut and like the regular stuff, and then Top Cut starting. But even then, that just I was cooked. I was cooked. It would wait 4 hours. Where did I get 4 hours from? It's 2 hours. Still, 2 hours of Pokemon. I was cooked. Had to prep for New Year's stuff. So all in all, I was pretty happy with it. Well, I think it's time for the wise words. Normally I say bye bye in a funny voice, but just like the end of the grand challenge, I'm gonna leave you some wide words. Wide words, okay. Wide words. Let's make that a thing. Somebody, anybody, watch this video. Comment wide words. I'll like the post. Time for some wise words. Even in defeat, I lose.